We're going to now cover free strokes. Unlike the rest stroke, when the free stroke is used, the finger does not touch any string afterwards. The finger simply plucks the string and then goes into the air until it plucks another string or the same string again. So free strokes are used for chords and for playing arpeggios. A chord is a combination of two or more pitches. For example, this would be a chord. Right? And an arpeggio is when you play the chord one note at a time. So free strokes are mostly used for playing arpeggios. And we're going to now practice a series of free strokes. We're going to start with the thumb actually plucking on string 6, which is also called E. I'm going to actually, this time, and since we're going to be using the thumb, instead of resting with the thumb, we're going to rest with the index and middle finger. So we're going to begin by placing the index finger on string 2 and the middle finger, M, on string 1. Then we're going to place the thumb on string 6. And we're going to pluck the string with a downward motion and miss the 5th string. And then we circle back around and we can pluck it again. Let's try a series of 8 of those plucks, like this. Right? Free strokes. So here we go. On the count of 4, 8 plucks of the 6th string E. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Did you play exactly 8? You should have if you kept track. The easiest way to keep track is 2 groups of 4. If you look at the example for this in notation on the bottom of page 14, you'll see that the 6th string E is represented by placing the note head on extended lines below the staff. These extensions are called ledger lines. When you place the note head below the 3rd ledger line, it represents the 6th string E open. Now let's move to practicing some examples of free strokes with the index and middle fingers. This is a little more difficult than using the thumb because unlike the rest stroke, you are not allowed to touch the other string after you pluck it, after you pluck with the index or middle finger. So we're going to begin by placing the thumb on the 6th, and we can start with preparing the index on the 2nd string and the middle finger on the 1st. And let's just practice this real quick. We pluck the index finger and then pluck the middle finger. Pluck the index finger and then the middle finger. Now notice I am not playing rest strokes. When I pluck, I miss the string behind the one that I'm plucking. And we do that by just adapting the angle of the pluck slightly so that you do not hit the string behind it. When we play the rest stroke, the small joint of the finger collapses slightly. And you've probably observed that in the examples I play. With the free stroke, there's less of that occurring because we change the angle slightly. So let's look at example 6. This uses the B and the E. My thumb is resting on the 6th string. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look at the example in print, you'll see that there is a symbol there with 2 dots at the end of the piece. That is the repeat symbol. In the example, in the text, it actually spells that word out. Anytime you see those double dots, it means repeat the example. I did not repeat it this time. So let's move on now to example 7a. Example 7a adds the thumb to our free stroke. In this case, we're going to use the thumb on the 6th, the index finger on the 2nd, string B, and M on the 1st. And we are going to go very slow because we want to control, and we are going to repeat this example because through repetition you will perfect your technique. So we're going to play this example 2 times, example 7a, very slow. I begin by preparing my thumb on the 6th, index on the 2nd, M on the 1st. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're beginning and you're practicing, it's not a bad idea to actually look at your hands. That example is simple enough that you can memorize it. As we move along, the examples will get more complex and take more work to memorize, and you'll be able to read them. But looking at your hands whenever you're practicing a new technique is important because you're teaching yourself how to do it. And the repetition is just as important as well. So now let's look at example 7b. Example 7b is very similar to the previous one. In this case, we're going to pluck those 3 same strings in a different order. Example 7b. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we will look at example 7c. Example 7c is in a new meter. Notice that each group of beats in this case, each measure, only has 3 beats. We call this a triple meter. So when I count us in, I'm only going to count 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. So let's begin this exercise by placing the thumb on the 6th, index on the 2nd, middle on the 1st. And I will count us in on the count of 3. We're playing free strokes. Example 7c. 1, 2, 3. Now example 7d, we prepare the same 3 fingers on the same 3 strings. 1, 2, 3. Example 7e. This one is in 4/4 time. 4 counts per measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Example 7f. 1, 2, 3, 4. So by repeating these a lot, what you're doing is teaching your hand where the strings are, where to find the strings, how closely or far they're separate from one another. That's the point here. Eventually you don't have to look at your hand and you can move your fingers freely and find the strings, which is what our eventual goal. The repetition is really important though to being able to do that.